Well, we did not. The meeting to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah. All right, we're going to start with roll call. Mark Allen here, Mike Van Mark here, Gwen
Here.
Howard here, Dale here, Robbie
Here.
John here, Amber
Here.
Nathan here. All right, thanks. Approval of the minutes. Did everybody get the minutes that Amber sent out back in October? Oh.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we had a motion from Gwen and a second from Mark. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I think we're gonna make a adjustment to the agenda. Want to make a motion for that?
What was your suggestion that we were gonna do?
So the suggestion here is to take 9B, which is the discussion for the data center, and move it to the front of the list. Recognize that most folks here are here for that. And we're gonna make that first thing on the agenda instead of further down.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve those changes on the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so what we've proposed is a moratorium for the data center projects that have potentially come here to Starke County. And I believe we have a moratorium now drafted.
Yes.
I think Nathan worked on that for us, our attorney. And the current date is set for December 4th. Does that work for the board?
Yeah.
Yes. Do we have a motion to accept December 4th as the?
I'll make a motion for December 4th, be for the public meeting.
Okay, we have a motion from Mark. Do we have a second?
Wow.
I'll second that. Okay, we have a second from Dale. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any discussion from the board on the data center moratorium? All right, I'm gonna kind of step this through for the public, and we are not here tonight to have a lot of public comment. We've set that for the public hearing. If some folks would like to say a few things, we can have a little bit of time for that, but we have not penciled the whole evening for it. So the plan for this is we now have a drafted moratorium and a date set. That will happen December 4th. There will likely be a vote after the public hearing. I don't know how that vote will go. Depending on the outcome of that vote, it will then go to the next commissioner meeting to be signed in or be voted on. Any discussion from the public?
Mr. Chairman, if I may. So just a couple of notes. About a year ago, this body engaged in a quasi legislative action. And so that everyone's aware, the Plan Commission does not create ordinances for Starke County. They make recommendations to the county commissioners who then approve or disapprove them. If they approve them, it then goes into law, but we act as an advisory capacity. in the past 2 months, recognizing that there are areas for updating in our ordinances. That's why we've addressed this matter. So what's being proposed for December 4 is for this body to make a recommendation, either favorable or unfavorable, to the county commissioners to place a 1-year moratorium on the building of any data centers located in Starke County. And that would be a prohibition on the creation of, the filing for permits, anything to that extent of a data center here in Starke County. That then allows us as a plan commission body the ability to step back, take a look at our ordinances, see what we have, see where there are areas that can be addressed, and we can move forward, ensuring that in future ordinances, we can take into account questions of planning, questions of studies for water, questions of study of availability of power, what's the effect on roadways, what's the effect on manpower in the area, all sorts of these aspects we then take into account from the public over the course of the next year as we update our ordinances to address rapidly changing technologies that are hitting not only Starke County, LaPorte County, White County, Jasper County, every other county. So this allows us to take a deep breath, to pause, to see what other municipalities are doing, and to bring our ordinances up to date. So on the 4th is when we are going to take a vote. We have to publish notice. There's a period of time where that takes into effect. We're going to be doing the same thing for an update to the solar ordinance here in the next month, and that recommendation is going to go to the county commissioners. But that's the intention on the 4th, is to vote on whether or not to make a favorable recommendation to the county commissioners on the proposed moratorium ordinance that we have for 1 year.
Okay, just real quick here, any more discussion from the board? Okay, folks, I'm gonna give us some 15 minutes here to have some conversation, some dialogue between the board and the crowd that's here. I saw a hand over here first.
Okay, that, the 2-mile jurisdiction that this city has planning and zoning authority over, your moratorium has no effect on that.
So it is to my understanding that our moratorium in the county won't affect anything that would be happening in Knox. Is that accurate?
Yes, I'm 4 months into this position. I don't know what agreement we have with the city of Knox or the town of Knox, but if that's in place, then definitely they would have jurisdiction over that area. And
I spent 12 years on the planning and zoning board for Knox, and I spent a year on this board at one time. And I'm pretty sure that that hasn't changed unless, I'm not paying attention every day to those things, but that was always the way it was. And so this is only one layer of protection against this atrocity, that the city of Knox is the next stepping stone that has to fall into suit with a similar type of at least a sensible approach. And thank you for that, to slow down and let's not destroy what little we have in this community, which is our clean air and our good people and our country setting. And it doesn't make sense. And thank you again for your work in this direction.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
One, if I could have you state your name, sir.
Mark Milo.
And two, as I've been going through and working with Lonnie on our permits that come through on the 2-mile jurisdiction. City planning issues their clearance for them, but we actually issue a building permit in the 2-mile jurisdiction. So I believe this would prevent us from issuing any permits in that 2-mile jurisdiction, not city limits, but 2-mile.
Short of me seeing an interlocal agreement, it would be my opinion that we have jurisdiction up to the city limits, would be my opinion, short of seeing any interlocal agreement that's been entered into in the past. But that's what that caveat.
Knox has had a 2-mile jurisdiction for years.
Okay.
They have their own ordinances, they have their own plat book or planning directory and zoning, requirements. And so I personally don't believe that the moratorium will affect that 2 miles. So just making the crowd aware that is a possibility. I can always be wrong. Anybody can be wrong. But I'm bringing that out, that don't go to sleep, because these folks are trying to do the right thing at this juncture. There's still another entity that can be involved.
Okay, and to Amber's point here, as we call on folks, if you could say your name, that would be helpful for the minutes. Anything else? Sir?
Tom Bush, are there any active requests for rezoning that goes from agricultural to industrial in front of you all at this point in time?
There's not, sir.
And same thing for requests for development within the industrial zones as well?
There is not.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am?
I read that the moratorium was gonna say that it was only gonna affect anything 5,000 square feet or more. Why that was that, is that actually in the moratorium wording?
Well, I'm not.
Maybe I had it on their website. So that's where I got it from.
No, that is, and we discussed last month that it's very possible that you have, say, a computer development or something else that comes in. And they have a very large portion of their building that's used for that, so that was the suggested square footage. To allow that for a caveat, to allow other developments that are non-data center related, they can still have this as part of their business plan and scheme.
So something like a hospital where they have a whole data area.
Exactly.
Stop data center from coming in, purchasing 100 acres, putting up a building under 5,000 square feet, just so they can get rezoned and get their permits. And then they start, once they own that land and it's been rezoned, they start adding more buildings to it.
So that's where your zoning code comes into play, the amount of buildings and structure that can be located on a particular piece of property. We'd have the ability to limit that as well. And candidly, yeah, if you start putting up teepees, 400 teepees on 100 acres, I think it'd be very cost prohibitive at that point. So what I was trying to do for the plan commission, for the community, is create a carve outs that did have these other businesses come along that still need that square footage for aspects of their business. We weren't being prohibitive for that. But good question. Yeah, no, I agree. There's, you creative, but we had limitations. There's limitations in the code to prohibit exactly what you're suggesting.
Yeah, great question. Next.
Mine's just a basic curiosity. Anthony Alberico, by the way. How many different conversations have come up? Like last month, the meeting that took place here, we had a representative from one of those data centers that had brought forth some information, and I know had a conversation, but how many others have stepped in and asked that same question like they did solar? Different, there's multiple different companies. Where are we at kind of seeing that? Is it just one? Is it a multitude?
To my knowledge, it was just that gentleman that was here.
We've only had contact from one data center company, and that company is no longer interested in putting a data center in Stark County.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry, Jill Rallis again, just a quick question, because a lot of people are bringing that up. Okay, we saw the email saying that, we weren't interested, they would look for further locations. How do we know that the city didn't say, yeah, we're gonna take care of you? Do you have anything in place that can override the city on that?
Not to my knowledge, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean,
This
we
group can.
can only control what state code gives us authority for. And as the gentleman that spoke first enunciated, certainly exercising your free speech rights to communicate to elected officials in the town would be other positive attitudes for
So we
you.
need to start working with the city of Knox, okay?
What is the position? I didn't raise my hand, but I want to follow up on allowing something else. What is the position about rezoning? That used to be a trend of no spot zoning. That was encouraged in developing plans, through organizations that help small community develop zoning and planning strategic, thought. Is that allowed nowadays, that spot zoning can take place? Because that never used to be allowed.
So
That's
the-
what we're, that's what
Yeah.
that's what's happening here, is you're gonna take a piece of agricultural land way beyond. The city industrial or business area and and residential zoning. And then agricultural zoning, and now you're gonna change that to industrial zoning. That seems to me like that's not comprehensive.
So, yeah, so the idea of spot zoning is more of a philosophy, so that everyone is aware, every single parcel outside of the town or outside of a municipality in Stark County is going to have a zone applied to it. Now, anyone can petition the plan commission to change the zoning so that they can try to use that property for their proposed use. And you're exactly right. It could be, we're in the middle of an agricultural field and you have somebody that wants to parcel off 5 acres to build a family home, a hobby farm, so to speak, right? What is good practice, and Amber and I and John have been talking about this in the last couple of months here, is we should have a long-term plan that Stark County has that designates what we perceive and would like areas to be long-term. That way, when those folks come in and request to knock off 5 acres for a hobby farm, or want to put in 5 acres for B2 or commercial use or industrial use, etc. One of the things that this board can come back to is to say, we have a long-term vision plan for the county. And while some instances, spot zoning or changing the zoning may make sense, they can also come back and say, this doesn't make sense because this isn't the long-term plan for the county. So spot zoning is more of a philosophical approach to determining whether or not to change the zoning use of a property.
Thank you for clarification.
Roberta?
So Nathan, not to put you on the spot, I have just a couple of quick questions. First of all, you mentioned the, comprehensive land use plan. So I'm not sure if anybody up there knows it. Stark County has one it's right here. It is filed with the recorder's office. Not gonna lie, it's pretty old. But it does clearly call out what Stark County's goals are as it become a county when it comes to land use, ag land, all of that. As well as in the back of it is the surveys that was sent out to the public. And what the public sentiment was, so we do have that.
Good, and those need to be updated every about 10 years, I'd recommend,
Yeah,
so.
we've looked and we can't find another one since 2003. So, so we do have that, but going back to the 2 mile jurisdiction, and I don't know if you know this. And you may, again, I'm putting you on the spot. My understanding with the 2 mile jurisdiction recently was there was some Supreme Court legislation or happening downstate around the 2 mile jurisdiction, and that the 2 mile jurisdiction typically cannot be enforced. The county would need to enforce it if the city is not actually providing public services. So in this case, the property that most of the people in this room are here for, that area does not receive public utilities. So in that case, my understanding from the state level is that it would come back to the county, hence the moratorium might actually be effective. Do you know anything about that case? And again, I think it's pretty recent, so if you don't, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But
No, and that intertwines some recent correspondence that's been happening in my backyard over in St. John and Cedar Lake as well about trying to spot annex in. And then you have to make sure that you can provide as a municipality sewer and water to that particular, it's intertwined in that section of the law here. And again, that's where I come back to whether or not there's an interlocal agreement, because boundaries are boundaries, no matter how small here. Then my position would be, not knowing more, that we control up to the edge of the town. So.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? All right, last chance. Okay, any discussion from the board? Thoughts? All
I
right,
do have one last thing.
your name?
Everett Mann.
Okay.
Longtime resident, lifetime. The name data center, there are multiple data centers. Are we doing on this moratorium? Is it all inclusive to? You can call a pig a dog today. I can just squirrel. Is this moratorium gonna cover all the wording? Are we going to put something in there? I see that, the main purpose being computers, data center, or storage. In some of the paperwork, but it doesn't. Later. I mean, there's always a loophole.
There's a lot of different names for data centers, so yeah, really include everything to make sure we're covered.
It says main purpose being. I mean,
Yeah, I think that Nathan did a nice job of presenting that in this ordinance proposal. I would think by your wording in here that they would have a pretty uphill battle. Any type of development that was geared that direction. Is that my interpretation accurate?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. 20 years ago, I'm reminded of Professor Cy Moskowitz saying, we deal with words, right? That's what gives me a job most days, is a dispute over that. But I think we've tried to be as comprehensive as possible. Really the phrase that is being tossed around downstate as even the legislature catches up is the phrase hyperscale data centers. So I think the language that we've gotten there is as encompassing as possible, wrapping its arms around it. So that part doesn't worry me.
Wordsmith, you look up on the internet and use AI to look up hyperscale and their own data center. They don't know what it is. There's nothing online that says this is what a hyperscale is.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be down in legislation, but that's not online yet.
Yeah.
Counselor, would it be appropriate to read
Yes.
Article 1 in your ordinance for this gentleman? I think it would clear his may help him answer his question.
We ran out of copies.
Now that board is ordained as follows. Number 1, I think would help answer his question.
Hyperscale data project shall be understood to be a building structure in excess of 5,000 square feet, whose primary purpose and design is to house data center equipment or software which is used for processing, storage, retrieval, or other communication of data.
I think that kind of helps answer the question of when the lady here had the question of could they call it other names or be called something else? I think he's.
And I'll go even one step further. So then I tried to think creatively, right? Like someone else. So I even went one step further in paragraph 2, which is to say there's imposed a temporary moratorium on the issuance of or receipt of an improvement location permit or related application for any structure related to any hyperscale data center project, including but not limited to any related storage facility. And these are systems that accompany it: water conservation systems, cooling systems, or data center or buildings in all, and this is the funky legal term, appurtenant facilities, which is anything that's related thereto in all zoning districts in the unincorporated areas of Starke County. So again, trying to wrap your arms around it as much as possible. I appreciate that question.
Thank you, guys.
All right. One last question, and then we gotta wrap this up.
It's not really a question, I don't know legal terms and all that, but I just don't want a data center here, like, why are we trying to put in something that probably a lot of people in this room don't want? Like, we like our community the way it is. We like lakes and our rivers. Our lakes, our rivers, our views, our air, like, don't try and make us like Valpo or big cities. If we wanted that, we would go there. We like what we have. People move here to get away from that.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's for the public. I mean,
Man, we're just trying to take the proper steps as our board here to follow this through appropriately. And that's, I think, hopefully that answers your question.
I mean, you'll get, the public meeting will be a good opportunity for a lot of people to give that in.
But we've actually got a whole bunch of
Yeah,
other
we
things
wanna-
here. But I do have a couple of questions for Amber. If for whatever reason we had to cancel on December 4th due to a lack of a quorum or somebody here is ill and can't come, how do you plan to advertise that so these good folks know that that meeting had to be rescheduled?
I'm actually starting a news group now where I'll send out the email, so it'll get published on WKVI, Stand Up Starke County, and WSB2, actually, they requested to be onto it.
Okay.
So in those.
The
news
county
sources,
website?
It gets published with our IT website, so it'll be all those sources. We'll post it on the door. But I'm really trying every meeting or public notice to send it up to the news groups, so it gets posted.
Okay, great.
Is the December 4th meeting gonna be here again? Or are they gonna get a bigger?
It's scheduled for here, but I'm gonna try to see if I can get a bigger venue and see if I can get, at least community center available.
People.
Yeah, what time?
Anything else?
No, that's close.
Just real quick.
Okay, my sister, I'm Joanne Bailey, and I'm wondering, is this meeting pertaining to the issues that the data centers are going to be bringing to the area? Like with the water reduction, the electricity, or is this going to be, is there going to be another meeting afforded for that to protest against that?
Yeah, so that'll be the December
December
4th
4th
meeting.
public meeting.
Yeah, and we'll probably do like a 3-minute time lot for everybody to voice their opinion. just to keep the meeting going, but any of those discussions would be appropriate for December 4th.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna give the room a couple minutes. That's gonna be the end of our data center discussion. So if folks want to clear out, they're welcome to.
One thing I'd like to say is thanks for attending. We appreciate your input. It's always good to have you come.
To sign that, to sign it.
You can say that again.
All right, we're gonna resume the meeting. Moving to item number 5. Review monthly planning commission items. Amber, did you tell me that John's taking the lead on this time?
On some of these ones.
He's following your. So he's looking for. Down.
That's your look
down. Down.
Okay. So, on the permits issued, but we had 7 for the month. Or new dwellings, 7 new dwellings, accessory structures 14, additionals or remodels 11. Electrical permits 18, plumbing permits only 9, mechanical or HVAC 6, demolition 2, pools and decks 3, and then miscellaneous 1. So a total of 72% permits issued this month. But I think everything is working through. We are trying to work more with the online systems and permitting. Currently, our online system only allows an electrical permit or a mechanical permit. So we will be putting together a package to submit to the board on opening up a few other, I'm gonna call it apps on the portal, so that we can issue these other common permits that we use a lot of, to at least get that application process started that way.
Alright, so the inspections are a little bit lower. We're starting to get into the winter season. There was a period of time where the building inspector was part-time, or we didn't have a building inspector. So see some standards dropped a little bit, and so that is reflected in the pass rate. I have had to fail some inspections due to some slipping, but I think they're getting a handle on it, and they should. I don't want to say they'll know better, but they know better going forward. Any questions?
You guys got anything?
No, appreciate what you're doing, John. I've
Yep.
heard good things about you, so appreciate it.
All right, so that wraps up 5A. Robbie?
You had code enforcement with the properties at 1935 North 300 East Knox, and we were given the current address for the property owner there, and the letter was sent back to us, and then we resent it back out because we have the current
Address.
yeah. I think we're looking at a different slide. I think that's what I'm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and they gave us the current address to that one as well. Amber notified the township fire department.
Yeah, we contacted Center Township Fire Department, got some more information on the structure when it burned, another address from the parcel owner. So we did send out another certified letter for that. If we do return that back as the other one was on the sign, we'll look for Nathan advice to move forward on that one. So.
Yeah, and then the case here, we sent out a certified letter to the prison, and the offender decided not to sign for it. So we was looking for so we got that one back as well, the certified mail. So we are looking to see what we can do on this case as well, the next step.
So you did or didn't get good service on this one?
They said the offender did not want to sign for it.
He refused for it at the
Yes.
prison
Okay.
where he sent it to.
Well, we have proof that it went to the prison.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think at that point, I'd update the lien here, and then depending upon the type of action that you want to take. What's the next step that you guys want to take? You want to force the eviction of folks from the home, or? What's the action that you guys want to take?
Well, I hate to kick anybody out of their
I'll
house.
do an additional fine, but
Yeah.
that would be more realistic.
It's sitting at currently $5,700 in fines with no attempt to pay on any of it
Or attempt to clean up?
or attempt to clean up.
Yeah. I
There's
mean,
vermin and I mean, it's
How long?
animals, everything
I mean,
running.
if we did an eviction, I mean, we're talking, they'd have how much time?
Well, at this point, with Thanksgiving right around the corner, you're not gonna
And
get them out until
Christmas.
January, February. I think at this point, what you probably wanna do is seek some form of injunctive relief and to get a judgment against the property. To seek a court order forcing them to clean up and get compliance that way. So maybe you send one last round, and if there's no response by our December 4 or the second week of December. At that point, you can authorize me to file an action in the local circuit court. Seek injunctive relief. You're not gonna get a hearing until January, February, but at least at that point, we can seek a court order. And you've got a guy or gal in a black robe telling them to clean up. If they don't at that point, then they're in violation of court. So.
So your recommendation would be to do another round, trying to reach out to them.
One more round and let me see the letter before it goes out. Let's add some language in there emphasizing the fact that the next step is going to be requesting judicial relief and a court order forcing the cleanup payment of outstanding fines.
Now, since he's incarcerated and he refuses the mail, can we serve his wife or the current resident at that address?
Yeah, I mean, technically you just serve at the address that's located there. We're just going above and beyond trying to quote, reach the owner, so.
Do you need a motion for that, or do you just need to?
No, this is just general information to instruct staff, so.
I agree with that. I think it's a good idea, and I don't wanna kick them out for a while. It's gonna be pretty nasty.
I mean, even if we started the process, it'd be after the holiday.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for working with them.
Yeah,
Any way we
I would
can.
like to say that.
Was that it, Robbie?
I have other cases that I'm working on as well, but they're either pending or they're going through the steps right now. So I
Okay.
didn't put them on here because,
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I don't see any more.
So is that it for today?
yes,
Okay,
I think more of it was just making sure that we're following the same process with these nuisance properties. And making sure that we give them those letters and then send out, and then we'll reach out for the judicial. But most of them are repeat offenders now and they're at the stage of going to the court to get cleaned up.
we were trying to close the past cases so we can start fresh for the new year. But it's been a process, but
okay,
Perfect.
yeah. Sorry about that. All right, discussion on permit fees, last updated September 2016. I haven't seen it in here.
I brought this from old business. This was mentioned in the previous month's meeting, so I brought it forward. There was discussion that you guys want to see a cost comparison throughout the county and how the fees are assessed around them. So I want to start with the relevant cost drivers for the price increase. This is the amount that everything has increased since 2016, which was the last time the fees were evaluated. As you can see, overall, it's roughly 45% over the last 10 years. If you just do CPI, it lowers that amount. It doesn't it wouldn't be the entire 40%, but it would be enough to warrant the increase because of the 34% of just inflation. That's the average in the last 10 years. Fuel,
So-
vehicle insurance, all that, everything has a sector, and every sector across the board does.
Comparison.
Well, I have it here.
Oh,
So it's the next slide.
I don't worry about the CPI. I mean, the comparison between the counties.
That's in 2 more slides.
The one thing that everybody needs to know on the board. Several of these counties have multiple inspectors, meaning they have licensed electricians in several of these areas, licensed plumbers doing the inspection. Not really fair to say, you know, we're at the same level as that, just saying that out loud. So it doesn't justify to say, hey, you gotta pay the same as other counties. You're not near the level at that. So I think that needs to definitely be discussed. I don't see a problem increasing the fees, but you just have to be careful of increasing them at the same level because Marshall County, I'll be the first to tell you, Marshall County has a lot of different things that they also do in the county to help during the building process. I know the septic part of it's different, but anyway, that's just something to discuss amongst the board, I just think.
So of the counties that you have listed here, it looks like Starke County is the lowest.
It is, sir. And if you go back 1 slide, right there, even if you did
Pretty simple.
at 27 cents, which would be CPI only, our 2,000 square foot fee would still be lower than most of the counties surrounding.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it needs to go up. I don't disagree with that.
Well, any thoughts from the board? And your recommendation John, is 34% across the board?
Yes, sir. That would still put us at one of the lowest counties, but it would still cover the general inflation across the board over the last 10 years.
It'd still put us at the lowest of the ones you've compared.
There's still a couple lower. If you look at the comparison chart, I grabbed Franklin. Franklin is pretty even to us as far as population and rural area. They're still relatively low and definitely lower than us, but yeah, we would be higher than Franklin. We would be lower than Pulaski, and Marshall depends on the square footage, and same thing with Fulton. We would be lower than LaPorte.
So you're proposing 34%. How does the thoughts from the board on that?
I'm good with 34%. I don't want to go any higher than that.
Was there a square foot limit? Didn't we talk about a square footage limit
It's a very high jump.
on that? Where if somebody wanted to come in and build a commercial building of 10,000 square feet or more, was there didn't we discuss that where?
Yeah, but that's going on into like the Marshall County properties and stuff, where they're that really large.
Right,
And trying to put a square footage on that. Some of our concern now is we're getting pole barn, it maxes out $250, that's it. No matter the size they're putting up, it's $250. Some of the houses, they're maxing out, I mean, at a very low rate. I think what John was trying to suggest is if we do the 27 cents a square foot versus the 20 cents, we're maintaining at least the cost of the fuel, the insurance, the inspections, the cost of living going up. It's not going up all the way where some of the other counties are at 40 cents a square foot, but we're staying.
And I also just want to clarify, this only applies to new single family dwellings. The 34% doesn't apply to any other fee. From what I understand, that was your guys' primary focus, was the single family dwelling. So that would be the only thing that increases across the board.
My
That seems
focus was actually on pole barns. I felt the pole
Yeah.
barns were really low to build a pole barn. Because everybody likes to build pole barns instead of stick built stuff, looks like.
I guess if we're gonna do a percentage, I'd like to just see it across.
I would too.
Yeah. And I don't think a pole barn should be capped at 250 because there's some massive pole barns.
Oh, I know.
Right. And you gotta look today, a lot of people are building,
They're
what they call barn
Barn
dominiums.
dominion.
So-
They're living.
All under residential.
Okay.
Okay.
It's-
And none of that
they're-
falls in.
Permitting it correctly. Now you do have the people that just built a pole barn and they try to do everything without a permit. Those who catch as we see them. But if they're not,
Yeah, they can.
Getting
build
it
and they
permitted,
cover
I
it, yeah.
can't go after it.
I guess, just for discussion, I'd like to see 25%
That's
across the
what I
board.
was gonna
And-
lean towards.
Maybe have him draft a new proposal so we can see what that would do to all the levels of the permits.
Would it be a one-time raise or would you step it?
I guess I'd like to see us just kind of get caught up, but it's up
And
to the
then
board
look at-
here
Then look at yearly readjusting it.
if we need to. yeah.
Hmm. Are you okay with 25%?
That's what it takes to get it started. I mean, we need to get,
Good start point.
yeah.
What do you think, Howard?
I'm okay with 25%.
I'll make-
I think we, not us individuals specifically sitting here tonight, but when he says that we haven't raised these in 10 years, well, loaf of bread's went up in 10 years. Gallon of gas has went up in 10 years. And we're not bringing it up to the 34%. We're making a reasonable wage. Okay, taking small steps. I'm on board for 25%.
I'll make a motion for the 25% increase on the fees.
Do we want him to draft it and bring it back for the next
Yes,
meeting?
yes. Can you draft that, John?
I can't say yes.
Okay, we got a motion from Mark. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Howard. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have a question real quick for Amber. Do you know, since when we move forward with that, does it have to go in front of the commissioners or council for a fee schedule? I think you have to create a new fee schedule or something.
We do, but it ends with you.
It is, and okay, it is here. Okay. Just wanted to double check.
Maybe Nathan can weigh in. if there's a process that we need to follow.
Yeah, you guys would just authorize and approve it. You would have to publish it, but after that. Reapply it. Yeah. And that would definitely increase. I mean, everyone else is paying more for lumber, wages, et cetera. You guys gotta keep up.
We
So,
do.
Just to clarify, it's just 25%. The cap on the pole barns remains.
I don't think we should have a cap on
I
it.
don't think we should have
I
a
think
cap.
35 square footage.
No cap.
So it was 25% across the.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
No cap.
Okay, any more discussion on the permit piece? Okay. Planning Commission ordinance draft.
This one's, sir, so Article 3, which governs the planning commission, has not been updated since 1991. There's a lot of gaps. It's more of a skeleton article. We're currently in the process of making it more robust and modernized. And it encompass not just what the planning commission is, but how the planning commission operates. We're trying to get it out early 26, so it can be implemented for the full year. We're working on it internally. After that, we will get it to council, and then see blesses on it, we'll be bringing it to you guys. We just want to give you a heads up that we are working on rebuilding it and make it more robust and more modern to reflect technology. All that.
That's good.
Thank you.
Any discussion from the board on this?
I have a question. Will we be able to see a draft of that then at some point?
Yes, ma'am.
Since
Oh,
we're,
yes.
okay,
You'll see a draft of it before you vote on, and then Nathan will see it.
okay.
Did you guys have anything else on that? That's it.
Okay.
All right, so. The publication that you had for the vacant seats, I think is the next thing here on the list.
Yeah, so we had it published with WKBI and that, but we do have vacant seats on planning commission board for 3 seats. So we're taking applications for that. Anybody wanting an application, those are available online. But that is for 3 seats on our planning commission.
Okay, how about BZA?
BZA, there's also seats available. So on the same application, you can apply for both by selecting the boxes. But getting that so we can get more involvement in filling all those seats for the year.
Is our board, the seats that's vacant on our board, are they appointed by us or the commissioners or the council? What governing boards actually would appoint these?
On planning commission, it is 3 seats that are vacant now that would be appointed by the commissioners. Mark your seats by the trustees, so that'll be back up come January.
Yeah.
Council will also be reappointed every year, and then on the BZA, it is 1 council seat that is available and a commissioner appointed seat.
So the 3 seats that we lack would be a commissioner appointed seats. Okay.
There's also a Purdue seat, is that correct?
Yeah.
Producing, yeah.
And that we have no control over.
Have they had any communications on filling that?
I've not reached out yet. I did reach out to city council and they're tracking and they're getting ready to have a nomination. I'll reach out to them as well and encourage them to.
So I have something that I wanted to bring up to the board along those lines. We have 1 planning commission member that has missed 3 consecutive meetings. And so it says in the Article 3 that John was speaking of, it says right in there that a failure to attend 3 consecutive meetings, we need to report that to the appointing body, which is the commissioners. So I am asking you, Mr. President, if you can make that recommendation. We need to make a motion, I guess, to send it to the commissioner so we can get that seat filled.
Yeah, we already made the motion at the last commissioner meeting, that it's gonna, in fact, John was there.
Oh, really? Okay, all
So
right.
she's been removed from the.
Well, we're gonna send her a letter,
Okay.
as just being polite that she's no longer required to be here.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, so we don't have to do anything with that.
No, that's Justin, the commissioner attorney, is gonna work on that.
Okay.
all right.
Is that one of the 3, that's one of the 3 seats that is open then?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else on board seats?
Skip.
Did you want to mention anything about, that might be kind of the time?
No, that's okay. We'll
Okay.
talk about it. That's fine for now.
Okay. Trying to, we jumped around here a little bit, so. Let's, Article 3,
Got that done.
did we Article 3 done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was part of that previous discussion.
Probably just. a bunch of-
Yeah, so are we in agreement that we're down to 9D, the 2026 budget?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion from the board?
I have some discussion for you. I know it's always me. So I think that, John recently spoke with, I believe, Marceline. And I think that you were given a little bit of incorrect information. Cause with our salary ordinance hasn't been passed, and then the job descriptions haven't went in front of the commissioners yet, the new ones. And that has to be done first. So there's like a whole process that got missed before we can even,
open that up.
yeah, and the other thing. Anytime a new position opens, it has to be posted for a minimum of 3 days according to HR.
I believe
So-
that's accurate.
That's the other thing too, but yeah, as far as this goes,
So really, D is not true. Is that what you're saying? That she's not gonna become full-time in that position, or it has to be opened up in that position, or what are you saying?
I'm saying that the job descriptions haven't been in front of the commissioners for approval or updated in the book upstairs. They still have old job descriptions.
What do you wanna do, Mike?
I don't think we can do anything until we know, sorry, you were going.
I was gonna say, we need to get that though in place or whatever we need to do. Whether we need to get the job descriptions completed and submitted to commissioners or how we do that or get them to the board. But delaying on this now since the seats were vacant, even a part-time role of filling the one full-time position this past year has been straining on the department. I think keeping to prolong it is getting difficult.
Well, I
I
think,
wanna make sure I just
Yeah.
put that out there.
I think the opportunity to create a full-time position that was existing would have to go through the BZA. Because that would be the position that became available. Is that accurate? Because technically the other positions that have been created, well, halfway created, don't exist yet.
Great, a lot of great.
Like, and Howard, you might be able to help on this. So the budget was presented to the council. But I'm not sure that do we have approval for the positions that were tweaked?
No.
To my knowledge,
I
we
don't
No,
think we
I
do.
didn't think we do.
And I think that's the
Brought up
delay.
a good point.
To be honest with you, I missed that meeting, so
Okay.
I can't be 100% accurate, but I do not think we have. I'm in favor of what we need to do with Robbie. I think Robbie's doing a great job, and I think I was gonna bring up, can we temporarily keep this? To answer Amber's question, can we temporarily till we work these kinks out? Maintain what she's doing in her current capacity.
Well, I think she can remain what we call part-time, which is up to 32 hours. Is that right? What's our cap, 32?
Mhm.
I think she can remain doing that, but to fill the
Fill that
BZA,
position.
it would have to
Yeah.
come from the BZA. And I think to Gwen's point, I think that would have to be advertised.
Right, but we have other things to do before that, like the
Right.
salary
Right,
ordinance and
yeah,
the
Right.
job
Yeah, and the
description
job
and all.
description, the whole
Correct.
position of what's required.
Yeah,
I would
because
say.
on the July 8th meeting with the council president was actually on there saying that these were 3 new created positions. Even though, I mean, there's still, and then something else you guys might want to consider, because you're doing Article 3 over. When you read through Article 3, it makes it sound like you're,
So,
It
yeah,
does,
and
yeah.
that's,
I'm
so
not trying to-
essentially we
No, I
have
went
two
through
people
rewriting.
filling the
Yeah.
same position right now. The planning administrator is synonymous with the building coordinator or the building commissioner, right?
correct,
But we are kind of splitting it right now.
Mhm.
And so we're tracking that. I kind of let her handle
yeah,
the paperwork side and I handle the zoning and that side, but we're tracking, there is that issue as well. So if you guys plan on running it like that, we're gonna make Article 3 reflect that by creating an administrator and the bill.
Okay, yeah, cause those, yeah, it
I
doesn't
think
work.
that'll clear up a lot of.
Yeah, I do
things.
too.
Right now, just from my point of view, it's 5 months of the seats open, but nothing has been. So I mean, I just kind of like, at
Well-
least going into January and with the new roles, or understanding what January is approved for, is that's not very far away.
So just to clarify though, the seat I think you're talking about is the BZA secretary seat that's been open. But that would be up to the BZA right now, but the way that it was reconstructed, I don't believe that is even gonna be paid through the BZA. I think it's gonna be paid through Plan Commission.
That's when you look at the budget, is what I'm trying to
The
say, is
new budget.
coming to pay Robbie January 1st, if we don't have something in place. There is no BZA budget.
Right, that's correct.
So plans, Article 3 also mentions the hiring of a secretary. So it could be the secretary for Plan Commission, not necessarily secretary for the BZA.
Right. Howard, when do you think we're gonna know that everything is a green light here?
Well, I think I'll check with Todd
Okay,
and we'll get that on the agenda.
yeah, because they need to know for restructuring
Right, I
purposes.
understand. Let me speak with Todd and, get that on our next meeting agenda, okay?
Okay.
Because it does need to be expedited. We need Robbie to keep doing her job.
Yeah, it would be good to get this cleaned up for sure. Right. I had a hand up.
Well, I was just gonna answer your question on the BZA stuff. So Robbie's paid right now as code enforcement part-time for up to 32 hours that you guys are paying her from the planning commission. Code enforcement's always been on the planning commission.
Correct.
The BZA secretary position that was full-time, we technically still exists, but
Correct.
only until December 31st.
Right,
And
that's where it gets.
nothing's been paid out of that.
In
all.
the BZA position, then in January, Robbie no longer has a job.
Right,
So that's why the delay and why the BZA never proceeded to move forward.
yep,
Was we didn't find a fill position and then that person no longer have a job come January 1st.
exactly, yep.
I just thought it clarified.
Yep.
For anybody.
Good wording, yep. So Howard, you're gonna work with the council.
Yeah, I'm
try
gonna
to get us some
contact-
clarification.
I'm gonna contact Todd and I'm gonna get this on the agenda. And what I'm going to ask him is, I'm going to explain that Robbie, we would like Robbie to become a code enforcement officer and slash BZA secretary, correct?
Well, you guys have the exact wording, I think, on
Right.
how it was created.
And to create and put in place that salary ordinance
Yeah,
to pay her for 35 hours.
and actually, if there's any way that we could have that squared away by December 4th. I know that's kind of set up for a public hearing, but we can add things, we could even call it a separate meeting right after if we needed to just clean some of this stuff up for the end of the year. But I think you guys have a meeting between now and then.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else on that? Dale? Nope. All right, time and date of next meeting.
We actually missed one, sir.
Yeah,
Did we?
Yeah, so, December, we have a meeting scheduled, but you might not have a quorum, so. We need to get the meeting dates locked in for next year. These are the proposed dates. It aligns with the second Wednesday of every month. No change from last time, but we do need a vote.
Well, we're having the December 4th meeting, which is the public hearing.
Yes. Did you want to add this to it?
Well, I think we can,
This is just regular scheduled monthly meetings, not,
Just the second Wednesday of every.
right.
this won't have special meetings or public hearing.
I don't know that we would need to have another meeting if we're gonna have a December 4th meeting. I mean, because we could cover things after the public
I'm
hearing,
fine with that.
just to wrap things up for the year.
Yeah, that's why we put it in here, so you can go ahead and approve it.
so we'll advertise, of course, as a public hearing followed by a regular planning commission meeting. Okay.
That's fine.
Howard, is that okay with you?
I'm good with that.
Dale? It's good. Okay,
We're already there.
yeah, we're there. If we need to wrap some things up for the year, I think that's great.
Opportunity. not discussed them.
So are you requesting to set the dates for next year?
Yes, but if you want to discuss that, at the December 4th, we
I
can
think
table
that
it.
would be good,
Okay.
yeah. Is that good with you folks?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that kind of covers time and date of next meeting.
So not listed on the agenda was planning board, other business items, and that was the draft of the solar ordinance. And we need to schedule a technical review for that and also a public hearing.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that today. So we currently have 5 members until January 1st. We've got 5 good people here, several of which would be on the TRC. Would it make any sense to discuss this as a plan commission?
You mean the full board instead of the,
Well,
the
there's
tech group?
we're looking at 5 here.
Right, we don't know how soon we're gonna fill those positions, right?
Well, it should be the first meeting in January is when the
Okay.
appointments typically get made for the commissioners. I would be fine, and this is a suggestion to the board, that we pencil maybe a half hour on the 4th to discuss. It's gonna be a long-
I've got no problem with that, other than it's gonna be a long night.
Personally, I'd rather get it all done.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
think we
agree
need to
with
get
you.
it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Dale, thoughts?
I'm all for it. Done it over.
Yeah, get it done.
So can we just add that to the meeting?
For just a technical review of it during the.
Well, Stan Fortune's gonna do the technical review meeting.
I think Roberta has a question on it.
Well, if you're open to public comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
So first of all, I just want to thank you guys for everybody for all the work that they've done to make the new draft of the solar ordinance. I know it was made available to the public, but there were only 10 copies. I have one. I am glad that folks are finally gonna have a chance to see what's in it. I did look through the version. It's clear a lot of time. And we've spent a little bit of money to get it done. I do appreciate Nathan's, our attorney, I'll say attorney, because not everybody knows who that is. I do want to say that I do appreciate Nathan's input. I'm also glad to see that much of the foundation from the original draft still seems to be remaining. It's good to see that the work is started and the work that we started months ago is starting to continue to move forward. My main concern tonight is about clarity and timing. So there are definitely really good improvements in here. There are also some areas that might need a little more discussion, which I know we'll eventually have public hearings for. Section 4.1, and I'm gonna look to Nathan here. Where it talks about living projects in 100 contiguous acres and no more than 3% of land in a township. I would appreciate, Nathan, if you could maybe clarify how that's intended to work in practice. So for example, I'm gonna throw an example out just to see if I'm understanding it. So for example, if the company leases 2,000 acres in one township, that total is still under the 30% limit, but they divide it into smaller 100-acre blocks that don't touch each other. Can they all still be considered one project under one permit and one fee? Or would each block need its own separate permit? I know, I'm just asking, because as I read it, it just felt like there was a little bit of gray there that I wasn't following.
Yep. And that's a great question. If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just comment on a couple of things for us to noodle on, if that's okay.
I think that'd be great.
So section 4.1, and looking at both what was proposed, which you have been working on over the past couple of months, other municipalities, just staying abreast of news. There's a couple goals that I had there. And I'm not saying that this is what you need to do. I'm trying to create a framework that we operate in. So first, I'm suggesting that there be a maximum size of any one particular contiguous project. My fear and goal, we heard it tonight, is that folks are saying we want to preserve our agricultural rural landscape. So I suggested here that a single project cannot exceed 100 contiguous acres. I've seen 200 in other municipalities. I've seen less in other ordinances. That's just something to chew on, which is what's the cap that we want to do there. The second thing that I suggest, that you don't have to do it, but it's a suggestion, which is to say no more than X% of all acreage in a township can be applied towards solar use. Which is to say, let's put a cap on the amount of solar coverage that can happen in any particular township within Stark County. Because we have a goal as a planning commission to preserve the rural character of this community. We want to see other uses develop. I suggested 3%. You don't have to do it, but again, I'm trying to give us a framework to operate within. So that's what Roberta is referencing there. That's found in section 4.1. So really chew on that in the next couple of weeks as to whether or not we think that's appropriate. Should be larger, less, etc. Okay.
And then with that, just to finish real quick, thank you, Nathan, I do appreciate that. I do think it is important to understand what he's talking about, because I didn't follow it personally 100%. I think I have a good idea, but again, but I also do want to say that I hope that when all of this does go to the public hearing, this commission does take the time to really listen to the feedback. And if that feedback does lead to big changes, I think it would be worth having another hearing before it moves on to the commissioners. I think that's just good transparency. We never had that meeting that we talked about early on with getting the public's input to write the ordinance to begin with. Before I wrap up though, I have one other question, and that is, we have the solar draft now. Do you know when we'll have the battery storage draft?
Working on that.
Okay, so we don't have a date.
Not yet.
Okay, so with that, I want to point out that the moratorium was adopted February 18th, and it's going to expire on February 18th. That sounds like a lot of time in theory. But once you factor in the public hearing process for this board and the publication deadlines, get things out there, the commissioners review, and then the commissioners' public hearing, we really don't have a lot of time. So if more time is needed to get it right, I think, and I personally think it sounds like it might need to be, because you guys haven't had a chance to even read through the whole thing. I would encourage this commission to consider requesting an extension of the moratorium, even if it's just 3 months. I think it's always better to take a little more time now than to have to fix it later. So it's just thoughts. I don't know what's involved with that, but
So realistically, what are we looking at time-wise here? I mean, it won't be done by February then. Really, right?
Well, if we make, if we make, this discussion happen on, let's say, December 4th. If we make some changes, could we set a date at that point for public hearing if the board was comfortable for it?
Yeah, we'd set up our January
14th meeting.
14 meeting, right? So at that point, it would go to the commissioners. They'd have to publish right away, 30 days. It's conceivably possible to happen before the 18th of February. Reasonably, my suggestion was going to be at our December meeting, depending on how conversation goes, we may want to do a 2-track system. Let's set up December or January 14 for both an extension resolution and a resolution to adopt. We can always continue one of them and pass one of them on to the commissioners to continue a 3 or a 5-month extension of that moratorium. I think that may be wise to do that 2-track system at that point.
Okay,
Thank you, Roberta.
good points.
I did just so that you're aware as you work through it, and I don't know how much, Mike, you want me to go into it at all or not?
Yeah, we can spend a few minutes with it.
Okay. If you take a look at, I guess sections highlighted, but I want to go to page 5, 4.3. Underneath 4.3, you'll see there's 3 different proposed systems that are excluded from this ordinance. It'd be a private residential. So if somebody owns their own personal property and they want to put a solar system on it, that doesn't come. That's not being, guided here. The second thing is a private commercial solar energy system. You're getting a lot more businesses and business parks and such that are putting solar systems on their roof. Again, that's excluded from this. And then third is agricultural. You're seeing more farms just put up their own few solar systems. What I'm suggesting here is that if it's a footprint that's less than an acre, that again isn't going to require the strict rigors that we're proposing here for a commercial development. So I've tried to create some carve outs recognizing where we're seeing smaller smaller solar units being put into play. This isn't meant to be onerous and provide a lot of guidance there. Beyond that, 5.2, really take a look at 5.2. 5.2 outlines all of what's going to be involved and requested in the permitting application. Road use agreement with Starke County, glare and reflective study, traffic management plans, fire prevention, soil drainage, lighting studies. And I've also suggested that if we're within, school and educational facilities, you guys have the capacity to request more studies be done. So again, more control there. We're seeing that in a lot of other municipalities. So 5.2 is just going to be the overall application, what all you're going to be able to request and require. Page 9, one thing that we don't have right now, but for your larger projects, we need to make sure that we update our ordinances moving forward. Any and all outside costs, engineering, inspection, consultant review costs, those are all reimbursed as well as legal costs. So the goal is with these larger projects, a lot of other municipalities, they're charging. The engineer is charging for their work, the attorney is charging for their work. That's passed on to the applicant and they're paying for it. Okay, so that's a reduction from you guys. 6.1, I'm suggesting, you don't have to adopt it, but I'm suggesting that if land is going to be approved for a special use permit at the end there, you see if that's going to be considered a commercial use, and that's your treasurer is going to smile when he or she sees that, because that's going to increase the tax revenue. I think you definitely need to make that application. That's my strong recommendation. 6.5, this varies across the board. That deals with the maximum height of what is allowed. I'm suggesting 18 feet for solar panels and arrays. I've seen anywhere from 12 feet to 30 feet across the state. So again, that's going to be a question that you guys will have to assess what you want to allow there if you want to highlight that. 6.7 is screening. Right now you're at 1 3-foot evergreen every 20 feet. Suggesting there that we change it to 1 4-foot every 20 feet, and then in between is a 6-foot deciduous tree that's at least 1 inch, 6 inches up. So right now, the standards that you had allowed for it to go 15 years before you even start to have a vegetative screen. Let's get that accelerated. Trees are cheap in the long range of things. Other thing I just want to highlight, 8.7 deals with if there's ever any issues. I've shrunk the time frame for you to mandate that there's a response. Otherwise, you can pull the plug on the projects or at least stop it. 9.4, you frequently see this with battery developments or solar systems. It creates a whole new set of issues. What's that?
Fire
Yeah.
response and funding.
And what I'm suggesting there is that let's request an upfront payment, but make it less, but then there's ongoing revenue that needs to be paid to your fire and EMS over the duration of the term of the use. I think all too often I see, and I sit in a crowd at these meetings in other municipalities, and somebody dangles, a big lump sum to fire EMS. And they're thinking, great, because now I can buy, put money down towards a tender. Well, really when it comes to these sorts of issues, the money that EMS and fire needs is on the foam and other sorts of stuff, which runs out year over year over year. So what really we need is reoccurring revenue year over year. And that's kind of a framework that I've built in here suggesting it. Beyond that, updated the decommissioning and repair and maintenance, have that reflect Indiana law. And then also update the requirements for insurance to ensure that it's going to cover pollution, environmental, anything like that, which we didn't previously have. So those are just a lot of the updates. Let me know, Mike, how you want me to present it next meeting, but just those are some of the considerations that I've made for you guys.
So at the public hearing, when this is set, should we arrange for somebody to read it from the beginning to the end, or would that not be necessary?
I wouldn't. So number one, I would publish proposed on your website. Number two, my recommendation would just be I can highlight certain areas to take everyone through it. And then we can receive public comment on questions that people have.
And even though this is by no means a legal document, we can share this.
Yeah, it's a proposed ordinance. Yep,
Does it need to be marked in any way, draft, or?
I would definitely emphasize that it's draft form. And
Okay,
if you want me to send you a draft form with that, I sent you a Word doc, right?
Yeah, I can add draft
Slap
to it on
draft
each
on
of
it.
them.
okay.
I'll just put it in the header.
I should have.
Any questions from the board? Great work. Appreciate all your efforts on this and your team's efforts on making. Yep. Any public or any comment here from the board about anything tonight? All right,
I'd like to comment that this young man here, thank you for accepting the job. And I asked him earlier, when Gwen heard me, asked him how things were going and, what was his word, Gwen?
Fun.
Yeah, he used the word fun.
Yeah.
And I hope 6 months from now, when we ask you that again, you still say it's fun. Thank you.
Will this draft be made available online on the county website so that?
Yeah, as soon as I get this Word document, hopefully by tomorrow, I can mark it up that it's draft and I'll have IT get it published as soon as they can get it posted.
I would like to see, you folks go down Highway 10 toward Wheatfield. And look at what these solar companies have done there as far as their buffers. They've actually done 3 layers of, trees, greenery and stuff. And driving by, I appreciate that. And they especially do it by people that have, the solar panels next to their homes. And I think they appreciate it. I would like to see something more like that done here in Stark County.
great thought. Yes, sir.
Just a question, I came in late, the December 4th meeting, is that gonna be held in a bigger venue?
So it's scheduled for here, but I'm gonna try to get community center and I've reached out, I know, to Bass Lake Firehouse and I'm still waiting to hear back from Washington Township, but try to get it in a larger.
The limitation we're running into is being able to live stream. A lot of these other places, they don't have live streaming capabilities. So we have to keep in mind that when we choose our location, that we have to record it at some point or in some way and live stream.
For PA systems.
They do, you're right.
I'd like to say that the last time there was a meeting at the community center, the sound was terrible. There's, I mean, unless you were the first 5 row, you could not hear what was being said. And maybe it was by purpose, I don't know, but it was terrible.
All right, anything else from the public? Real quick.
I got you. So back in August, it was brought up that NextEra's completed project in the San Pierre area still had not provided the as-built plans to the county. I believe a letter was sent out to them because they were not in compliance. Can you tell us where we're at on getting those as-built plans?
Did we get that letter sent? I think Nathan was gonna help you with drafting it. This goes all the way back to our previous attorney, I think, was kind of working on that.
Yeah, I have not worked on that with the as-built plans, Nathan, I don't think that was on our.
It was August, because I brought it up at the August meeting and Nathan was gonna with.
That's what I thought, yeah.
And I think
Well, maybe
we
we need to
got a
circle
little
back to that.
bombarded with some of these other issues that all took place during the May, June, July timeframe. I'm getting caught up.
Okay, so maybe we can circle back to that. Awesome.
And then my second question would be, why are we having these meetings at 5 PM? A lot of us work jobs where we're not getting off the clock until 5 PM. And then we're scrambling to get here. We're taking time off from work. Today I had to take the whole day off to get here, to be able to get to this meeting on time, because there's no way I'll get off time any other way. Why can't we have these at 7 where we could take off, 30 minutes early from work to get here? Because I work all the way in South Bend. For me to get from South Bend to here is an hour.
I work in South Bend. I don't have a problem making a meeting.
And what time do you start?
7 AM.
I start at 6 o'clock in the morning and I work until 6 o'clock at night.
So
I
you work
drive
12
7
hours every day?
every day, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
Sometimes I work 13.
Well, the board can definitely take that under advisement for 2026.
Say we could entertain the idea of even BZA and planning commission swapping times thoughts kind of.
And we could definitely look
The
at that.
problem comes up is that the meetings drag on. They drag on very.
I understand that, but at the same point in time. People want to attend these meetings that can't get there at 5 o'clock. There's no way.
I understand that.
And if we can't be there to voice our opinions at these meetings, what's the point of having? it?
That's the point.
Exactly. It seems like the whole point of having these meetings at 5 o'clock is to shut us up. And that's not fair to us.
I don't think that's anybody's goal here.
Sir, I'd like to point out that any emails or phone calls that are sent to planning commission office are read and put in the record. So even if you're not present, your voice will be heard through the meeting.
Point taken.
But I do appreciate that feedback and we can take it under advisement for 2026.
I mean, there is a possibility, BZA meetings are usually select hearings with individuals, that if we started it as the first meeting. And then came into the planning commission as the second meeting.
And we could always maybe even rotate every other month, start an hour later or something, to try to accommodate.
I certainly have no problem starting later. I like that better.
Yeah.
I've always said that.
I would be at a lot more of these meetings.
I
If
have
it started a little bit later.
I have a question for the public. If we did start at 7 and the meeting ran until 10 o'clock at night, would anybody have an issue with that?
Absolutely not.
Starts 6 and we get quite a bit of attendance and usually it's not a problem for folks to be able to get there by 6 o'clock as opposed to 5.
Because if the meeting does run till 10 o'clock, now you're looking at the next day of getting up early to get to work. Is that going to create an issue for other people?
I think there's a happy compromise. I mean, I think somewhere in the middle, 6:30. You know,
Yeah,
or
6:30.
if you know you have a hearty agenda that's gonna run late. Write the agenda, so again, like a situation like this, like you did tonight, we moved what we knew was the hot topic so that people could, you know, you can.
And Amber's got the right ideas, let's swap in the BZA with us.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, for the BZA meetings always started late because planning commission ran over anyway.
Right.
Almost every time. All right, anything else from the public?
In your ordinances. For battery storage on the solar. What has been put into place, or has there been anything put in place? The distance that a battery storage facility is put in relation to a town. The
Yeah.
distance from a town.
Yeah, to my knowledge, Stark County doesn't have a battery ordinance. That's what we're gonna be drafting, and he just hasn't got to that. He just finished the solar proposal, for today.
Well, my main concern is that proposed battery storage site on 10 and 421 is a quarter of a mile from town. And somebody made it a flip. Well, it's a quarter mile away, okay, but when the flames go up and the smoke goes across the town, everybody's gonna be annihilated, staff and people. It's too close to the town.
I appreciate your input.
You're welcome.
Or anything from the board?
No, Nathan.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we got a motion from Mark to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion from Howard for a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
60 hours.